Hey y'all, it's Ann from Ann's Southern Kitchen. Welcome back to my channel. Today I thought I would bring you some of my favorite holiday appetizers that I've made on my channel. They're really delicious but really easy to make. And I thought I would start with one of my favorites, crab rangoons. These were most requested at our holiday parties and potlucks. And even Doug would help me. He would get up at 6 a.m. with me to get these put together. So we really love them, and I thought I'd share the recipe with you. And I will have all the recipes linked down below in the description box. But here I've just got some cream cheese, 1 block that I've softened, and I'm adding some imitation crab, but you could always use the real stuff if you like. And sometimes I would put some chopped up onion in here as well. And I'm using teriyaki sauce, but you could always use Worcestershire or soy sauce. I'm using a teaspoon of that, and also I'm using a teaspoon of onion powder and garlic powder. And I buy the egg roll wrappers, that way I can cut them myself, and you get more in a packet than you would if you just got the wonton wrappers. And I'm just using some water, and I'm just going to go over the edges of the wontons. And that's going to be like the glue that keeps it together. That way it doesn't come open when you're frying them in the pan. And this works really well. And I'm just going to use 1 teaspoon of the crab rangoon dip and put that in there. And I found that the easiest way to make these are to pull each edge together. Kind of makes like a pocket. I think they call this like a purse. But this is the best way that I've found to keep all the filling in the rangoon, and it's really easy to do, and you can make them pretty quick. But that's the hardest thing out of this whole recipe, is to wrap those up, and it doesn't take very long, especially if you have some help. And now I'm going to make some buffalo chicken dip. I'm going to use this chicken dip in a couple other recipes as well, but I'm going to make up the dip. And I'm using ranch dressing and the softened cream cheese. I would love to use blue cheese, but Doug doesn't like it, so I'm going to go ahead and use the ranch dressing that I made with Hidden Valley Ranch. And I'm going to use some hot sauce. I am using Frank's Red Hot sauce because that is our favorite. But you can use any kind of your favorite hot sauce. And I'm just going to mix that all together. And I'm also going to add some chicken. I'm using some of my home canned chicken. This is just about maybe half a chicken breast, but you could use as much as you would like. And I'm just going to stir that around. And I'm going to go ahead and put some onion powder and garlic powder in there, of course. And I sprayed my baking pan. And I'm going to put some of the chicken dip in here and bake it. And after about 15 minutes, I'll open it up and put some cheese on the top and finish it off in the oven. I took some of the chicken dip and rolled it in the crescent roll, but I did not get it tight enough, and it wasn't very attractive. It was kind of flat. It was still good, but it was just not as attractive as I wanted it to be. But it still turned out really good. And also that chicken dip was amazing. I'll definitely make that recipe again. And I'm just going to fry some of the crab rangoons. But first I put some buffalo chicken in those wontons and made those first so they wouldn't get that fishy flavor. And I think I like those almost as good as the crab rangoons. Those were so good. I never thought about putting them in some wonton wrappers, but I'll definitely do that again. See, it was kind of flat, but it was still good. Those buffalo chicken ones were amazing. You have got to try that recipe. Today I'm going to make a delicious snack that everybody loves, but not everybody uses their crock pot for it, and I am going to do just that today. So I've never done this before, so hopefully it'll turn out. I saw Kimmy from She's in Her Apron. She made this. I saw a lot of other recipes, but this looks the easiest, so we're going to do this today. And I've already got 3 cups of each cereal. I've got the corn, the wheat, and the rice. And I've got that all in there. It calls for 3 cups of each. It calls for some pretzels. I've got a cup of pretzels, and I just broke them up because I don't like a big hunk of pretzel in mine. And I've got a tablespoon of garlic powder. It calls for a half a tablespoon of onion powder, but I put a whole tablespoon in there. It called for a tablespoon of Lowry seasoned salt. I added extra of that because I love that stuff. It's delicious and I like it on anything. So I'm now going to add peanuts. The recipe didn't call for peanuts. I think she used peanuts, but I can't remember. But I'm using a cup of peanuts, and that's just the ones with the skin on there. And I'm going to add these things. These are what I love the most in a Chex Mix, and I bought these months ago just in case I couldn't find them at Christmas. So I'm going to add a cup of those. And I'm going to add a half a stick of butter, which I did a half a stick plus another tablespoon, just to make sure it was nice and buttery. And I'm going to go ahead and pour that on there now. And it calls for 1/4 of a cup of Worcestershire sauce, so I'm going to pour that in. And I'm just going to eyeball these. It says a cup, but I'm sure it's more than a cup because, as I said, I love these things. So I think that's probably why I compensated for more butter. So I'm just going to take my spoon and stir that around and get it nice and coated in the butter. You want to get all the seasonings coated with all the cereal. And in her recipe, she says she cooks it on low for 3 hours. It sure is easier to stir it in a crock pot than it is on a sheet tray. So she did what I saw someone else do. And they took a towel. She used paper towels. I'm using a regular towel. You know how when you open up a crock pot and all that water comes out? You don't want that. You don't want that on your Chex Mix. You do not want it to get wet. So I'm going to put the lid on. And we are going to do low for 3 hours. My crock pot, I don't know. I guess I need to do the time before and low. It always cuts off on me. So low power for 3 hours, and we're going to stir it she said she stirred it every hour. I'm going to do it every half hour. So I'm going to hit the start button. I'll check back when it's done, and hopefully it'll be really good and toasty. All right, y'all, it's out of the crock pot, and it's perfect. I will be making this way from now on. So easy. I only stirred it every hour, and it came out perfect. Okay, I've got a 1.5 blocks of cream cheese softened. I've got 2 cups of a white sharp cheddar cheese shredded, and I'm going to add a tablespoon of garlic, 2 tablespoons of Worcestershire sauce, and I'm just going to mix it up. And I'm going to take some of the cream cheese, make one a little bit smaller than the other. That way you could make the head on top of the body. So I just made sure that one was bigger than the other. Okay. The cheese balls, the naked cheese balls, have been sitting in the refrigerator. So now I shredded up some, I used pepper jack because it's all I had. And I used the fine grater right here to kind of make it look more like snow. I'm going to unwrap I'll start with the base. That way it'll be on the bottom. And let's roll it in the snow. So I'm just going to pack that. I told you it's messy. Just kind of roll that around in there. And also, you don't want to kind of just press it into the cheese. You want to kind of let it lightly fall on there so it looks shredded instead of just like a big ball of cheese on there. So, and it doesn't have to be all the way coated. It's white. You can't really tell it, but we'll see if we've got enough cheese for the top. And I'm going to leave it not perfectly round because you want it to sit on the base. You don't want it to be round and it'll kind of fall off. Okay, I found one carrot that had like a little thin tip to it. So I'm going to put this in my snowman. Wish me luck. Okay. Not too bad. Little nose. And I've got some of these peppercorns. I got a bunch because I didn't know if I'd mess up. Might have to work with this now. I'm not sure. Oh, it's turning into a snowman. It's so cute. I'm going to go ahead and put some buttons on. All right. I don't like that. Okay. There is our snowman. I wish I had like a little scarf or something to put on him. That would be adorable. But look at that. Cute little snowman. Okay. Stuck 2 pretzels, and that's not bad at all. I like it. I wish I had him a little hat and a scarf, but I think he's adorable. These are buffalo chicken meatballs. Quick to put together, so good, and really just a few ingredients. So I'm going to start with an egg. I'm just going to crack that egg and mix it with some hot sauce. I've got 3/4 of a cup of hot sauce, and this is Frank's wing sauce, and that's all I had in the refrigerator, but you can just use regular hot sauce. I've got Hidden Valley Ranch seasoning, and I'm going to use 2 tablespoons. And this is a Crockpot recipe. I'll have the recipe link below if you want to make them in the Crockpot. And I'm adding 3/4 of a cup of panko breadcrumbs and mix that in. And now I'm going to add the ground chicken. It's 1 pound of ground chicken. Just mix that in with the wet mixture. And I combine these with my hands. It's easier for me to just use my hands than with a spoon. And I just mixed it up really well. And these are going to be really soft meatballs. If you make this recipe, I would either roll them out and put them in the refrigerator or the freezer and let them get firm, because they were really soft to work with, and when they fried they kind of flattened a little bit. So a little different than ground beef meatballs, but really good. And I just took the mixture and I'm using a tablespoon to kind of get them about the same size. It said it would make 20, but mine only made like 17 or 18. So I'm just going to roll them out with my hands, and I've got it on a seal pat, but I'm not going to bake them on this. I'm just going to roll them out, and I'm going to start out frying them first. I've just got some avocado oil in my cast iron skillet. Made sure I had a good bit of oil in there so it didn't burn on the bottom. And they're more wet than a regular meatball too, so you want to make sure that they don't stick. I did stick them in the oven for just a few minutes, but if you're making this in the crock pot, you won't need to do that. You can just skip this step because they'll cook even more in there and they won't be as brown. But I wanted mine browned because I'm just going to dip them in the sauce. I'm just going to dip each one individually in there and put it on the tray, and we're going to eat them like that, like appetizers. So just dip each one in there. I've just made sure I coated them really well in the sauce, and then I just added it to the tray. Y'all, these turned out amazing. Not like the regular kind. We always have the beef ones with the chili sauce and the jelly, or last year I made some with the Asian zing sauce. That was really good too. But these were amazing, and I wish I had some fancy toothpicks to stick in there, but we enjoyed them. I even liked the ones that didn't have the sauce on them. They turned out good too. And I'll link the recipe below if you want to make these in the crock pot. Okay, the last recipe is some mini chicken pot pies. I've got my home canned chicken, some cream of chicken soup, and some biscuits. But I think this would be really good with some crescent rolls, but I didn't have any at this time. And I just sprayed my muffin pan really good. If you had some Christmas little tins to go in there, I think that would be really cute. I wish I could have found my mini pan, but I couldn't find it. So I'm just going to mash my biscuits into the pan and get those really mashed down. And I'm going to make my sauce. This is just cream of chicken soup with some chicken broth. And if you just wanted to use water, you could. And I'm just going to add my chicken with salt and pepper and onion powder and garlic powder. And these came together really easy. We loved them. You could use these as a dinner or an appetizer, and you could even add your vegetables if you would like, but we just like ours just plain with the chicken and the cream of chicken. But these were really easy to make. Just put them over the biscuits and bake them until they're nice and brown and bubbly, and they were so good. So I hope you enjoyed all of our favorite appetizer recipes. We really enjoyed all of these, and they were so quick and easy to put together. So let me know down below if you make any of these recipes for your family for the holidays, and I'll see y'all in the next video.